Hey, so I apologize for my appearance in advance. This was not a video that I thought required me getting dressed up or on camera ready. Just wanted it to be authentic and about what it's about and nothing else. With that being said, I posted on Instagram that I was going to make this video, and then I lagged on it for 2 weeks because I still have a lot of guilt and hurt, and I don't ever want to hurt somebody else, no matter what they've done to me. But at the same time, I know that if I had seen somebody post this video and heard their experiences and realized that I was going through the same things, I would have felt so much better, and maybe I would have had the strength to stand up for myself a lot sooner. I'm going to start off by saying this video might be a little bit all over the place. I just want to be able to just film this video in the setting of sitting down and talking with you as if you're my friend and I'm telling you this story of my experience. And I'm not a doctor in any way. I'm not trying to diagnose anyone or tell somebody what they should do. However, if I see something in front of me that looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So, just in relation to what I've been through and what I've had to do to heal and better myself, I am making this video. And I'm hoping that other people can relate and find something in it that's helpful. When I say I hope you can relate, I'm not saying I hope that you have been in an abusive relationship. I'm saying I hope that you can understand how I feel and what battle, what my battles have been. I'm definitely an empath. I feel energies. I'm highly sensitive to people's energy. I'm highly sensitive to other people's feelings. So much so that people end up coming before me. And I've talked about this in other videos before. And excuse me. I'm trying really hard to compose myself and just get through this. This is going to be a long video. If relationship talk, abuse, manipulation, hardships, divorce, if any of that stuff is a trigger for you, or if it's something you're not interested in, you can skip this video. I won't be offended. But it's going to be a long one. I'm going to try and get through it as quickly as I can. What else can I say? Yeah, so this video is going to be long. I'm not a doctor. It's going to probably jump around a lot. I'm going to tell a story and then tell you within that story things that happened to me and why I am feeling like I was in a relationship with a narcissist. I don't think people truly understand what a narcissist is. I didn't know what a narcissist was. I knew by definition a narcissist was someone really full of themselves and really loved themselves more than I think the healthy amount should be. But I didn't know what it came with in terms of mental health. And I had to learn it the hard way. So here I am. For those of you who might know me outside of social media, if you know me in real life, I'm a goofball. I don't know how else to say it. I'm just always making jokes, doing something stupid, tripping. I snort when I laugh. So social media appears like if I'm a little bit more on the sexy side, but I'm not that all the time, you know? And I think because I'm louder, more outgoing, more free, and I have no filter, I say whatever comes to my head, and sometimes people are like, oh my God, did she really just say that? I think it makes this harder for me to explain and to go through, because the person that I was abused by in a relationship with is someone who everyone knows as being composed and funny and charming and low-key. I mean, this is a guy that is, everyone's like, yo, I love him. He's so chill. He's so cool. And that's what I loved about him in the beginning as well. And that's what I saw in him as well. And I guess the only thing I can say is you never know what people are like behind closed doors. And you never know what it is that that person's real intentions are unless you get as close to them as I did in a relationship with them. And so people will hear about the breakup, and people will hear about, oh, she did this to him, and they'll only hear like a clip, a snippet of it, and they'll think that I'm the monster, I'm the bad guy. And that's how this person and most narcissists and sociopaths will want it. They will want you to be the bad guy. They don't want anyone to ever know them for what they really are. I'm going to say this, and this might be to my own detriment, but I still very much love this person. I still very much love this person. I'm not making this video to hurt anyone or to expose anyone. It's about me realizing what I went through, and after being diagnosed with PTSD and severe panic anxiety disorder and depression, why this is so much harder to grasp, and how it is that because of those diagnoses, I fell into an abusive relationship without realizing that that's what I brought to myself. I literally drew that in. I brought that on myself in a way. So I still love this person. It hurts every day to know that what we had wasn't real. I've done a lot of research. Most of them say that what you think you had with that person was basically you feeling it. And that narcissists and sociopaths aren't really capable of having those in-depth emotions. And other research say, yeah, they feel the emotions, they just are quick to get over it. And they're quick to dismiss it, and they don't care. Once they've gotten what they want out of you, and once they've exceeded a certain amount of what they can use you for, they can just discard you as if nothing. And that's not the case here, but it's definitely something that has happened more often than not to people who date narcissists or sociopaths. My point of me even saying any of this, and what I was getting at, was that I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I still love this person. I hope for his sake, he can find something that can help him and better himself. And I hope that he can be happy one day. Like, truly, genuinely happy. Not happy narcissist with a mask on, pretending to be happy for the sake of getting something out of somebody's relationship. So yeah, it's easier for people to look at me and believe that I'm the crazy one, that I did something, that I'm the bad guy, because I'm definitely the more out there one in all my relationships. And on top of that, I recently just got divorced. So why wouldn't you believe that the person that has all the issues and the person who's the problem in the relationship is the person who just came out of a 11-year marriage and relationship? So I think my situation's a little bit harder for me to condense and control what happens and what's said because of all those factors. I know that putting myself out there also leads people to think that, dude, this girl's crazy. Like, she's legit putting her dirty laundry, airing it all out, telling everybody all about her business. So there'll be those kind of comments and those kind of ideas and thoughts. But at the end of the day, I'm not doing this for somebody else. I'm doing this for me. And on the off chance that it helps somebody else, then great. But I need to speak my truth, and I need to release the hurt that has been consuming me for 3 years now. But anyway, so let's get into it. I think I've done all my disclaimers. I'm not a doctor. For the millionth time, I'm not a doctor. I'm not speaking badly about this person. I think that this is something that some people will definitely think was a mistake and not to do, but that's not for anybody else to decide. And I'm going to tell all my truths. Final disclaimer, and this is a big one. Oof, man, I don't even know why I'm... Okay, let me say it. Let me just spit it out, because if I think about it, I'll chicken out. While I'm talking about my stories, and while I'm going down the list of the things that, for me, makes me think that my past relationship was a narcissist, when I get to those points, I'll let you know this is why I think this, because this is a symptom of narcissism or sociopath or whatever. But I want to make it very clear. I have proof of the abuse. I have proof that nobody in the world until right this very moment knows that I have. There's surveillance footage from my security cameras, text messages, voicemails, audio clips, videos, pictures. There's a lot. And with just 2 of these things, I could easily destroy somebody in a really big way. I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to expose anything. I'm not going to post any of it. I'm not going to show or release it. But I'm going to say it because it has to be said. When you sit here and you listen to my story, may there not be a question or a doubt in your mind that I'm exaggerating anything, because at the end of the day, if it came down to it, I've got the proof. So if you're someone who knows me and you decided to watch this video because you're curious as to what happened to me, and you're like, yeah, right, You can believe whatever you want to believe. I'm not here to prove anything to you. However, if anything ever came down to anything, I've got a lot of proof. Is there proof of every single abusive incident? No, because I don't have a camera crew following me like a reality TV. But I have enough bigger things that have happened. And just one of those videos is enough to be like, that's abuse, period. So, let's jump into story time. In 2016, my husband decided to leave me, my now ex-husband. His reasoning for doing it changed with each person that spoke to him and then came back and spoke to me. And it was unsettling because I didn't understand where we got to that point, how we got to that point. He had a lot of people in his ear. He changed a lot. And even though he'll never admit it, I know he was doing something shady behind my back. I've got the proof of that as well. But it all came out of nowhere is my point. And I was left devastated. I didn't see it coming at all. The night prior to him walking out on me, he said he wanted me to quit working at the nightclub and he wanted for me to just get pregnant and be at home and stay at home with our kids and raise our kids. And I said, okay. We went home and had sex, went to bed. The next day I wake up and he's telling me he's leaving me. He's telling me he's leaving me because he thinks I was cheating on him. I was like, what? That makes no sense whatsoever. You've ran around to everybody and told everybody. The one thing you could always say about me is that you could trust the hell out of me. And then after he left, I spoke to other friends and they said that he told them that the reason why he left was because he didn't want to take care of me anymore, which he eventually ended up telling me the same thing later down the road. We ended up having a conversation about something, I think our car that we had to sell. And I accused him of cheating on me because I found things that I didn't know beforehand. And he was acting so hurt on the phone, like, I can't believe you would ever say that I would cheat on you. Well, what are you talking about? You accused me of that. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. You literally said that to me as you grabbed your bag and walked out the door in a dramatic flare. Oh, yeah, I did say that, but I was just really upset. I didn't know what to say or what to think at the time, and so I was just reaching for something. And he's like, that's the only thing that I can think of at that moment. He's like, I was hurt and frustrated. Okay, so you know that I was never cheating on you. I've never cheated on you. He's like, yeah, I know that. Okay. So it went from, oh, she was cheating on me to, oh, I didn't want to take care of her. He said to me, I don't want to be 80 years old having to worry about taking care of you when you're depressed or having an anxiety panic attack. Cool, bruh. So if you ended up in a wheelchair or something happened to you, I should have left you, huh? Because I don't want to have to change your diaper and your bedpan every day. Okay. So that happened, and it took me by surprise. So I think it hurt more because it was out of nowhere. It was out of left field. A lot of times when people get divorced, they see it coming. They're going that way. They're leaning towards that. And you can already see that that's coming or a possibility. So I was in shock a little bit. A lot of it, actually. I'm not going to lie. And I just couldn't eat, couldn't function, couldn't do anything, go anywhere. I had to call out of work. So my friends, the friends I had at that time, all took turns coming to the house to make sure I was still alive, on medication, eating, doing something. Most of the time, I went days without being able to get out of bed. Days. I'm talking about I didn't pee, I didn't eat, I didn't do anything. Days. this, I lost 32 pounds in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks. It was not good. And at that point, my friends, I think, got frustrated with me. I don't know if it was because they felt like I wasn't helping myself, or they just had their own lives to get back into, which I understand that. And little by little, people started coming over less and checking on me less, and that was fine. But this person who had been in my life from afar, because we never really hung out outside of a group setting, we never flirted, we never talked on the phone or anything like that. It turns out that this person lived within walking distance from me. And so when they heard what happened, it was like, hey, do you need anything? Do you want me to bring you food? Are you all right? I can just come sit on the couch with you, watch TV. You don't have to do anything. Just chill. That way you're just not alone. And that's all that I wanted. I didn't want to keep having to talk about my situation, because every time I did, I cried. I didn't want to keep having to think about, what did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? Is he going to come back? Is he going to realize how much he loves me and he's going to come back to me, or whatever I was going through in that moment? I just wanted somebody there, but somebody to not bother me. And that's what this became. This person became essentially my best friend. Every single day, at some hour in the afternoon, he would come over. And I have a very, very large sectional. Like, you can fit 15 people on my couch. He would sit at one end of the sectional, and I would sit on the complete opposite end. And we would just watch movies and Netflix until we couldn't keep our eyes open. It'd be 8, 9 a.m. Still, sun's coming up in the living room, and we're still on the couch talking and watching Netflix and movies. He would always leave and go home. We would say goodbye to each other, and it would be that. That's it. There was no flirtation. There was no nothing. It was just friends bonding over hurt. And he exchanged information with me about his pain and his hurt from his past relationships, and where he was right now in his life and how he felt about love. And I sat there and I was like, wow, it's really sad. Like, this guy is so nice, and these girls have just been awful to him. But we bonded. We bonded over a lot of stuff. And then somewhere around the 3-month mark, I was doing something on my laptop on the couch. So let's make a notation. This person came to my house every single day. Every single day, without fail. It was over a month and a half of every single day spending all day together. I wasn't going grocery shopping. I wasn't running errands. I wasn't doing anything. I was at home on the couch. And that's it. So, we saw a lot of each other. And then this one day I decided I'm going to get out of the house and I'm going to go to dinner with a friend. And then when I left there, I went to my friend's house, the ones that had been checking on me. And I just wanted to check in with them and thank them for taking care of me and everything. And I remember missing him that day. I was like, wow, this is the first time in over a month and a half that we haven't seen each other all day. And it was weird. My apologies. And I missed him. And I said to myself, okay, that's probably how you feel when you don't see your friend for a day or two, and you've been with your friend a lot lately. So I dismissed it. And then one day I'm on my laptop on the couch, and we We're talking about something, and I bent over to grab my laptop. And he said, damn, like, you just put your ass in the air. He's like, I may be your friend, but I'm not gay. And I was like, okay. And that was like the first interaction that was kind of flirtatious. And then a week later, we decided, let's get out of the house. Let's stop being in front of the TV. Let's do something. So as a group of us, it was actually a guy and a girl, and then me and this guy, we went downtown. And we were playing like beer pongs. And I don't drink, so I was just making the shots, but I'm not drinking. And the girls kicked the boys' butts. And I was excited because it's the first time I had laughed or smiled in a really long time. And I remember he just walked right over to me, picked me up, and kissed me. Right in front of the other two. And I was just like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. That came out of completely nowhere. But it felt so natural. There was no awkwardness or like shyness or like, oh my God, what just happened? It was just like a shock, like, oh, you feel that way. And from that point on, there was no going back. That was it. We were all day together, every day. And I want to say like 8-9 days into us being in a relationship, we said, I love you. It moved really fast, which is another thing that narcissists will do. They move quickly. They make you fall in love quickly. They do everything as perfect as possible. They try and show that they are the perfect mate, the perfect guy, the perfect girl. And you fall vulnerable and completely head over heels in love because you're already in a vulnerable state. And you see this person just being wonderful, like nothing you've ever had. But he also had a weapon, because I just basically sat there for 2.5-3 months telling him everything my ex-husband had done to me that hurt, and everything that I ever went through with my ex-husband that was eating me up inside for the 11 years that we were together. And so he got every bit of information that he would need to manipulate the situation. He knew that if my husband didn't sweep and he swept, that I would be ecstatic. He knew that if he made me laugh and whatever, and my ex-husband didn't do that, then he would get extra points. He knew all the things to say and do because I gave him the fucking handbook. Gave him to. So, we were together. The first few months, he decided he was just going to start sleeping at my house. And he never went home. He was living in my house all the time. We worked together, so we'd come home together, so we'd eat together, so we'd leave together, so we'd go, like, it was just, we had the same schedule, the same days off. Everything was exactly the same. Very convenient for a relationship. And so in the beginning, it was awesome. Talking about this guy, it was a slow night at work, and he ended up not getting to stay to work, so he left. He went home. I had higher seniority, so I stayed. And when I was getting off of work, there he is outside the elevator holding a thermos with my favorite hot cocoa. And it was like the most thoughtful thing, and I don't know why, something that simple, that gesture meant so much to me. And I'm a hopeless romantic, so those little things, like he drove his ass at 3 o'clock in the morning all the way to the strip to work when he didn't have to. So those were the little things that he did that made me fall in love, because those are wonderful things to do for someone. You know? Those are all wonderful things, and they make you feel loved and special. especially when you've gone through what I had just gone through with my ex-husband. Anyway, so I just broke I just got my nails done 3 days ago and I broke this one yesterday. Struggle is real. So little things like that. And he would stay at my house all the time, and I mean, he would only leave to go home and grab fresh clothes from his house. But I thought it was really odd, even as wonderful as he was in the beginning. I started seeing little red flags because he lived in a house with 2 roommates, not 1, 2. And their rent was not very much. His bills were minimal. And he works at a job where I know what he makes. I know he makes good money. And he just never offered to help with any bills. Meanwhile, I was living in a house that I had built with my ex-husband and cost a lot of money. The mortgage was ridiculous. Like, I'm talking about monthly expenses just to be in that house plus the car was $6,700, almost $7,000 a month, between the mortgage, the utilities, plus the Range Rover payments and all that stuff. It was a lot of money. And when my husband walked out on me, it was the end of September. So we were winding down in our industry for a nightclub. We were winding down for busy season, and it's getting slow. And then the entire month of December, the nightclub was basically closed because it's just so slow, it's not going to bring in revenue. So they don't bother to open and employ people because there's no point. Hold on. So, I was kind of in a state of struggle financially a little bit, and I felt like it was odd that this person was eating, showering, sleeping at my house, and never once offered to help. Now, keep in mind, on top of all of that, I was also enrolling myself into school for wedding planning. So I had to pay $3,000 or $4,000 to enroll for school and to get my books and to do all that stuff. And I was also paying my divorce lawyer. And that was a messy situation because my ex-husband was trying to insist that we share a divorce lawyer and just stay out of court and do everything on paper ourselves. But it was being done a very sneaky way, and I knew that by not having someone to defend me, that I would fall into a situation that would put me in a really bad place. And legally, I mean, either way, not a single person in the world can tell me that a lawyer is going to have both of our best interests at heart. You're gonna have to defend somebody more than the other. And I just needed someone to defend me. And I had a lot more riding on this because a lot of the purchases that we had made in our marriage and in our relationship was because of my influx of cash and the money that I was bringing in. And because I had paid for things in cash and because I had done things in cash so easily, the person who could stand to lose everything would be me because there was no proof that I was even involved in it. Essentially, anything could just look like he paid for it or he did it. So, long story short, I was paying for a divorce lawyer, and every single time that my divorce lawyer would ask me to come in and sign for something or to bring something to her, I need these papers, I need you to bring me this, I need proof of this, I would get hit with a bill, and they weren't cheap. $1,100 here, $1,500 here, $1,500 here, $1,700 here, and I'm talking about I'm already having a $7,000 a month bill. And at that point, I wasn't saving. I was spending everything that I was making at work. I was spending it on bills and lawyers. And I didn't care. I was happy. I had gone a very long time not doing anything for myself. I always felt like I spoiled my ex-husband, spoiled everybody else but myself. So finally free for the first time since I'm 19, I wanted to go shopping. I wanted to do things. Probably the wrong choice to have made, but You live and you learn, and I look back at it and I don't regret it because I deserved something happy. I mean, I went 3 months without freaking eating, basically, without leaving the house. I didn't spend $1, so I owed it to myself to go shopping a little bit and to do things a little bit. But I found it odd that he didn't offer to help, and he saw me crying. I'd come home hysterical, fit, crying, stressed to the max. My girlfriends at the time, I use that term loosely, girlfriends, he's a deadbeat, break up with him, date somebody with money. Date someone who's not going to make you feel like this and that's not going to let you stress over this. And it's not what I was in it for. I've never been into guys or girls for their money or what they can offer me or anything like that. And I just kept putting it out of my mind, but I did go to my girlfriends. I was like, what do I do? Like, can't say to him, either pay me money for you staying at my house or don't stay at my house anymore, because I wanted to be around him. He was my boyfriend. I wanted to spend time with him. I wanted to see him, especially in the beginning when you can't get enough of each other. So that was one of the flags. So for the first 3 or 4 months, everything was really great. Aside from those incidents, he would tell me that what I was wearing wasn't okay. I'm a grown-ass woman. I was 29, about to turn 30. And I've got somebody telling me that I can't wear leggings because if I bend over, you can see through the leggings. And I was like, you know what? Every guy is a different animal. My ex-husband was not a jealous person. I'm not a jealous person by nature. By any means, never been a jealous person ever. But maybe this new boyfriend is, and I gotta cater to how he feels. So I allowed it. And I would change my clothes, and I would act different, speak different. I would not talk to certain people anymore because this guy said it's not appropriate for me to be so chummy with this group of guy friends that I used to have or whatever. And again, I kept telling myself in my head that that's normal. Not every guy's okay with girls having guy friends, and I didn't care if my ex-husband had girlfriends, and he didn't care if I had guy friends. As a matter of fact, I had more guy friends than girlfriends. And when he would finally meet them, I'd be like, oh, I went out last week with so-and-so, and we had so much fun. I can't wait for you to meet them. When he would finally meet them, he would end up being friends with them all, too. My group of friends, Brandon and Anthony and Cliff, I met them randomly through one of my bosses at work. They came in to visit him. I was introduced to them. We hit it off, and then the 4 of us did everything together for the longest time. But it was always at night because that was the only time that I was awake, and my husband was always sleeping. So I would always party and go out with these guys, and my husband was like, okay, cool. What time did you get home last night? 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock? He's like, oh, are you tired? You want to sleep? No, I'm fine. And then when he met them, guess who becomes best friends with them and now is so close to them, like super close. So there was always trust in my marriage, so I thought. And I just figured maybe that this boyfriend is not that kind of guy, and I just had to understand that. So I allowed it. For my birthday, we went away, and I made a little bit of a hurtful comment, I think. He asked me if I was happy that he had taken me to this really beautiful, beautiful place called Mammoth, and it's February, so it's snowing, and it was absolutely, oh my God, it was so romantic and so beautiful, and I'm sure it was very expensive. I didn't pay for anything, which I ended up later on saying, well, he didn't help me with anything for the past 4 months we've been dating, so maybe this makes up for it, you know? But he planned that trip for my 30th birthday and didn't tell me what it was. He just surprised me. He packed my bags for me. He packed an entire suitcase for me, which gave me anxiety because every girl has jeans in her closet that she may not fit in anymore, but she keeps them because one day she might fit into them again. or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or your favorite kind of panties to wear, or your favorite bras to wear. Some of them hurt. Some of them are meant for like dresses and to be sexy, and some of them are for every day. The one I'm wearing today is meant to be functional, not sexy. And I don't know if a guy knows how to pack that kind of stuff. So I had a little bit of anxiety not knowing where we were going and what he had packed for me. What if he packs me shoes that I can't wear with this outfit? Whatever. So we get there, and I realized that we're going into snow, and I was like, oh shit. First of all, I've never really been a snow person. Never done snow sports, never done snow things. Second of all, it's my 30th birthday. I just really thought, dirty 30, you turn up. It's the big one. It's probably one of the biggest ones aside from turning 50, you know? And when he kept saying that he had something like planned, I thought it would involve my friends and a group of people. I didn't think that it would be just something, the two of us alone. But then again, my birthday landed a day before Valentine's Day. So Valentine's Day, when you plan something, you want it to be just the two of you. So I get it. I get it 100%. But when he asked me if I was happy, and I said that I was, I did say that I was, but I also said, I just didn't think that my dirty 30, I would be like in the middle of the snow without friends. I thought that I would have had some sort of like a fiesta or something, you know? It didn't sit well with him. And after he expressed that it hurt his feelings, I said I was sorry 1,000,000 times. It wasn't enough. So much so that he started acting completely different with me. And then when I came back, I went to therapy, and I told him that I wanted him to come with me to therapy, and he told her that I hurt his feelings, and that ever since that moment that he was just so hurt, and that's why things had changed in our relationship. I was like, okay. Sounds like an excuse to me because I already said that I was sorry. You know that we had a great time. The last 2 days of the trip, the trip wasn't even over yet. And we were already contemplating, okay, could we swing calling out of work for the rest of the weekend and just staying longer? Could we actually make this work? Would I be able to get my pet sitter to stay an extra few days and watch the dogs more? Would we be able to financially afford it? What about work? Are we going to get in trouble? So he already knew that I was loving the trip. So much so that I told him that I was down to stay. Even though I didn't have the money for it, I was down to stay, and I would have paid for the rooms. I said that to him. So I'll pay for the last 2 days. If we end up extending, I'll pay for it. But it wasn't enough for me to apologize to him, and it wasn't enough for me to say that I was having a good time. Those things weren't enough. He wanted to stay stuck on the fact that he felt like I didn't appreciate what he had done for me. So I didn't hear the end of that for a very long time. There's a lot of little instances that would happen in our relationship with arguments and disagreements that just weren't right. There was this one night where I told him that he had to leave my house. And I didn't want him to be there anymore. I needed space, I needed time, because I was upset. And I won't explain what the fight was about, it doesn't matter. He refused to leave. He refused to leave. And to a certain extent, it's sexy when a guy's like, I'm fighting for us. That's great. I wish my ex-husband would have been that way, but he wasn't. So he knew that about me, and I think that's why he did this. But I did say to him, listen, this is not one of those instances where I want you to try harder. This is one of those instances where I just need time. And it wasn't something that he would respect for me. He wouldn't give that to me. I'm like, this is my house. You don't pay $1 here. I need you to leave. Wouldn't leave. I ended up having to call the cops. And then the cops came, and I felt so terrible for even having to call the cops. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? And do you even know what this will do to me? So when the cop knocked on the door and asked me if everything was okay, I was like, yeah, it's fine. He's getting ready to leave now, so it's okay. He's like, are you sure you don't want me to stay? I'm like, no, it's fine. He's getting ready to leave. It's fine. He's like, well, you call me. You call me if he won't leave. I was like, okay, thank you. And he was standing at the door with me when I answered the door for the cops. So as soon as the cop started to walk away, he shut the door and he goes, I'm not fucking going anywhere. Oh, it was a frustrating roller coaster of emotions all the time. I would tell him to leave, he wouldn't leave. I would tell him not to do something, he would do more. It was hard. We get into an argument about something, and I told him that I didn't want him staying at my house anymore. He needed to start staying at his house. And so when he left the house to go to work one night, I put all his stuff. I knew he was getting off of work already. I put all his stuff out front of the door. And I changed the code to my front door. And I stacked everything up in bags. And I knew that if I let him back in the house to get his stuff, he would never leave. It would be like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I want for you to take your stuff. I want you to stay at your house until I tell you that I'm ready to talk to you again. There was no respect for my boundaries or my emotions, ever. The entire relationship, even in the greatest parts of our relationship, my feelings always took a back seat to his. But I was okay with that because I was so in love and blinded by all the other wonderful things. I was distracted by all the shiny things, you know? So he lost his shit. Starts telling people that I threw his stuff on the street and I put his stuff in the trash. I've got pictures of me stacking his stuff in his duffel bags outside of my front door. And when he was walking to his car from work to leave work, text him, hey, I just put your stuff outside. Grab your stuff. Wasn't sitting out there all night, and I kept my camera open on my phone, watching with the Ring app that nobody was walking up to the front door to take anything. But he forever went around telling people that I threw his stuff in the street and that I put his stuff out. I threw it on the front lawn, and that's not how it was. But it's how it went down. We had won a Red Bull contest, so they sent us to this really cool mansion that like slept like 32, I want to say it was like 33 or 32 rooms, and each room had like multiple beds. And they were like, it's an overnight stay at this mansion, and it's pirate themed, and there's pools, and there's this really cool whatever. So I had to go check in there. We wanted to find a room because we wanted to make sure we ended up with a bed there. But then I also had to go to school that day. So we were there for 2 or 3 hours, and then I had to leave, go to school. And after school lit out, then I had to go drive back. And it was not an easy drive. It was a far drive. And he decided he would drive me. I was like, you could stay. I'll just drive myself to school and back. He's like, no, I'm coming with you. Sweetheart, you don't have to do. No, I'm coming with you. All right. So, by the way, we did everything in my car. My car all day, every day. My Range Rover, put like fucking 10,000 miles on it in 6 months because all we ever did was take my car everywhere, and I trusted him and I didn't care. So drove to school and then drove back, and I found him acting weird. I found him to be different than himself. He was mad that I had invited a guy friend of mine, and this guy friend used to work with us, so he was excited to be able to see everybody again. And he's like, I want to see all of my work friends, and I haven't seen everyone in so long. And I was like, well, I'll scoop you up. We'll bring you back with us as our guest, as our +1. And, you can hang out with us for tonight. And he was very upset at the fact that I invited this guy friend who he had been friends with at some point as well, and who he knew. And it wasn't like I was alone with this guy. He was going to be with both of us in the car and both of us in the room. And I remember saying to him in the car, we had to get gas or something. We were on the road. And I said, what are you going to do? Like, he said, if you don't fucking listen to me right now. I was like, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to hit me? And he starts to laugh. He's like, don't tempt me. I was like, what, you're going to Chris Brown my ass? You're literally going to go Chris Brown on me right now? And he goes, watch me. And he pulled from the street off into the nearest shopping center and pulled into a parking spot and put the car in park and sat his ass like this and looked at me from the driver's seat. My heart dropped. Is he gonna hit me? So I leaned back and I was like, I leaned back in the car and I was like, the fuck? Is he literally gonna hit me? And I said to him, this is not fucking funny. This is not funny to me at all. You just threatened to put hands on me. And I think at one point he even grabbed me by my wrist and like jerked me into his seat. And I was like, this is not funny. I'm not playing. That's not something you joke about. And he died laughing. He thought it was the funniest thing. But it wasn't a laugh like he's laughing at something funny. It was a laugh like, ha ha ha. Like an arrogant laugh. Like, I've got you right where I want you kind of laugh. And from that moment on, we still went to pick up my friend. And he was being an asshole to him in the car the whole time. Then we get there and I keep saying, you don't have to follow me everywhere. It's fine. Everybody's in the jacuzzi. Everyone's having a good time. I was in plain clothes because I just came from school. So I was like, I'm going to go put my bikini on. I'll come with you. You don't need to come with me. I'm just going to go put my bikini on. I want to make it into the jacuzzi with everybody else. You're fine. Go hang out with everybody. No, I'm coming with you. Okay, so we go into the room. And the room is empty. Everyone's bags are on their beds because they've all basically marked where they're going to stay. But everybody's in the pool or the jacuzzi outside. I was like, I'm going to change, but I'm going to change in the bathroom because just in case somebody walks into the room to grab their bag or something, I don't want them to walk in on me changing. So I go into the bathroom and he's following behind me. I'm like, yo, can I pee? Can I change? Like, what's up? He's like, I'm coming with you. Okay. So I put jean shorts on and a bikini top. I was like, I'm not getting in the water. Everyone's already drunk. It's late as hell. It's like 11:30 midnight. I'm tired. I've been in school. I've been all day. Barely slept the night before because we had the whole cop thing happen. And we were fighting till the wee hours of the morning. Kept me up till 10 o'clock in the morning fighting with me. Called the cops on him at like 2 or 1. And we stayed up arguing and he would not leave. And he was at my house till 10 o'clock in the morning. So we ended up sleeping for an hour or two. But then we had to get up and leave to go check into the house so that we would have a room if we decided to spend the night. So we get there, I'm putting on jean shorts and a bikini top, and he's following me everywhere. And then I'm like, you know what? I do want to get in the jacuzzi. So I'm going to go put my bikini bottoms on now because I want to get all the way in, but I don't want to ruin my shorts. So I start to walk out of the jacuzzi. And he goes, where are you going? The room is right there, like the door is right there. Like right there. I'm good. I'm just going to go put on my bikini bottoms. I'll come with you. I'm fine. You're good. You don't have to follow me. It's okay. Had to come with me. Okay? So, all of those little things that were signs then disappeared. We left the room and he disappeared. He's acting so erratic the whole night. So at the end of the night, I'll skip past all the other drama that we went through and all the other fights. At the end of the night, he won't give me my bag. I'm like, I don't want to stay here. I'm not comfortable. I want to go home. I want to sleep in my own bed. You've embarrassed the hell out of me. After all of our fighting and all this shit, I don't want to stay here. I want to go home. My keys for my Range Rover were inside my duffel bag. And he won't give me my bag. He's fighting me. At one point, he grabbed my hand and bent my fingers back. And I saw stars. I saw stars. He did that to me maybe 15, 20 times over the 3 years we were together. He would always grab me by my hand and bend my finger back or do something to me until I had to like let go. He was insisting that he didn't take anything, but he was not himself at all. And I was just really irritated and I wanted to go home, but I wanted to drive because I was sober and he wasn't. We get in the car. He's fucking screaming at me, screaming bloody murder at me. And cop starts driving behind us. We're the only 2 people on the highway at that hour of the morning. And the car is coming closer and closer to me from behind. And I'm like, we are about to get pulled over. So you need to chill out. You need to chill out right now because I don't know what you're on. It doesn't look good right now. Just chill. I see the cop put his lights on, but he hasn't pulled me over or done anything. And he's following behind me really closely. And then all of a sudden, sirens start wailing, and he goes flying past me. I was like, oh my God. He probably got a call, and he had to go flying. But if not, he was probably going to pull me over. For whatever reason, I don't know. But, and then as soon as the cop sped off, all hell broke loose. Started threatening me, threatening my life. I was like, what? Saw the mask came off. The mask came completely off. And I was like, okay, we're not doing this. You're not talking to me this way. You're not treating me this way. You're not doing this to me. And he was just insistent. Since his car was parked at my house, I had no choice but to go home. He was insistent that he was coming in the house. I said, no, you're not. When we get to my house, you are going straight to your car. No, I'm fucking not. I'm coming inside. And I'm going to stay in that house, and you can't say shit to me. What are you going to do? Okay? So, his wallet, his keys, everything got thrown into my duffel bag that day from being at the mansion thing. And so when we get to my house, I start grabbing my bags. And he starts to unload the car. I'm not worried about any of my possessions. I grab my purse and my duffel bag, and I run inside the house. I didn't care about anything else that was left in the back seat. So I walk into the house. I quickly flip open my door, my knob. I change the code, and I slam my door shut. He tries to let himself in. The code's not working for him. Loses his shit. Starts to try and kick down my door. Walks over to the window right next to the door, tries to break down the window. Screaming bloody murder at me, cursing at me. It's late. I'm sure my neighbors could hear. And he's calling my phone nonstop. Told him I'm not letting him in. Threatening my life again, telling me that I better let him in. It's like, you have my keys and my wallet. I can't go anywhere without it. What does he do? He flips open the thing to the garage, puts the code in, and makes the garage door come up. I went running to my laundry room that's connected to the garage door, and I made sure I locked it right away, thank God, because if not, he would have just been able to walk right into the house. So I see him on the cameras. I'm watching on my cameras, on my surveillance cameras. He's trying to open the door. He starts kicking it, slamming it, to the point where he left a dent from his shoe on the bottom part of the door. And then he walks back to the garage and back to the front door and is trying to let himself in through the front door again. Shaking the doorknob like all of a sudden it's going to open this time. Since I know the garage door has been up already, I was like, this is my opportunity. I can literally open the garage door, put his keys and his wallet on the floor and shut it real fast. And I won't have to worry about him saying that I couldn't let him leave because I had his keys and his wallet. And he's like, you have my stuff and my clothes. It's like, you can get your stuff later. Your keys and your wallet, I'll give to you, but you can get your clothes at another time because today is not the time. Today is not the day. So he sees me because my door was glass, so you can see right into the house. He sees me walking to the garage. So he starts to walk over. I see him peek his head like that as I'm opening the garage door. And my heart dropped because the look on his face was like nothing I'd ever seen before. I dropped his keys in his wallet, and I shut the door. He starts charging at me from the garage door, whatever, the one that lifts. He starts charging at me like a fucking rhino, all the way from across over there. Had I not gotten the door to shut completely, in the very, very, very millisecond that I did, him charging at the door, he would have broken my entire face. I probably would have died. Not to be dramatic, but with the force that he had been running, and he came charging with his arm like this, he left his shoulder mark dented into my door for my garage, had a dent in the shape of his shoulder, caved into the wood. He broke my door. Had I not closed the door in that very moment, that door would have came right into my face and broken my face and possibly killed me with the force that he had slammed into that door. I was petrified. Never dealt with anything like that before. I told him he had to leave multiple times. He finally acted like he was leaving. And I was like, I'm safe to go to sleep. I barely slept. Tossed and turned all night. Had the worst nightmares. The very next morning, I had to get up really early to take the car to get service at Range Rover or Land Rover or whatever. So in the morning, I would get up to go into the garage because I had my dog kennel in the garage. They have a heater, they have a AC, everything in there. But the kennel was in there for them. I don't like leaving my dogs in the backyard because people can steal them. Coyotes can eat them. People can throw things over the fence that will hurt them. So I just decided to build a kennel for them. They had a huge thing to run around in. And I go out there to check on them in the morning and to give them food and water, and I'm missing 2 dogs. Missing 2 dogs. So my dogs, I'm having a panic attack. And I go back on my camera, on my surveillance footage, and I rewind it. And after he had drove away, he turned back around, came, opened the garage door, grabbed the 2 dogs, and took off with them. I was worried sick. I was like, I can't deal with this right now. I'll deal with it later. So I get to Land Rover, and they're like, you're going to have like a 2-hour wait. I'm like, fuck, okay. So I'm sitting in the thing, and I'm like texting him. Oh, no, he texts me. He's like, make sure you wear something nice tonight. We had plans to go to dinner. We had already made these plans. He's like, make sure you wear... And he's talking to me as if nothing happened the night before. Or the night before that. He was just, make sure you wear something nice. Because it's a nice dinner. No. Make sure you give me my dogs back. I was like, we're not doing this. This is crazy. This is unhealthy. You're going to get your stuff out of my house and we're going to be done. So he said, you can come pick up the dogs when you're done there. I'll be home. So I leave Land Rover and I go to his house to pick up the dogs. And I had my purse on the passenger seat and my phone in the cup holder. So he comes out of the house. And he's like, so you're done with me? Huh? So you're done with me, huh? Oh, yeah? Yeah, I have to be because this is unhealthy. And it wasn't enough for him. None of the sane reasons, the rational reasons, was enough. It had to be like, oh, hell no, we're not. So I tell him to get my dogs or I'm going to call the cops. And I wasn't going to call the cops. I just wanted him to think that I was going to call the cops. So I go to grab my phone. And he snatches my purse and he snatches my phone. Broke my nail. Completely. Clean off my finger. And threw my phone in the gravel. The decorative gravel that they have in front of our houses out here in Vegas because we don't have grass. And threw my purse into the street. Literally my Chanel bag that doesn't, the one that I had at that time doesn't have a flap to close. It's just a drop bucket. So if you drop it and it turns upside down, everything's falling out of it. Threw it. Goes to grab my dogs, throws them in the back seat. The dogs are scared shitless. The screaming and I'm trying to roll out backwards, like trying to back out of his driveway, and he's got the door and he's trying to come into the car and he's trying to grab me. And I'm still driving and the dogs are going and the doors are open. The door to the back seat where he threw the dogs in, he didn't shut it. So the dogs are possibly about to fall out. He's in the passenger seat, trying to climb into the car. And I'm trying to stop the car, but trying to pull out. It was disgusting. It was horrendous. And I said to him, I'm going to scream and your neighbors are all going to come out of the house. You need to stop. It didn't stop. And I go and I start picking up my stuff. My phone's shattered. The screen hit the gravel, so it's shattered. My nail's broken off. My purse's contents are everywhere. I'm on hands and knees picking up stuff in the bushes, in the dirt, in the street, under my tires of my car. I ended up losing an envelope from work. I had taken an envelope that was like 900, I want to say 934 it was. Because I wanted to pay for cash for my tire being fixed at Land Rover, and I wanted to deposit the rest of it that day, so I wanted to have it on me. And they give you your cash at the end of the night of every shift in an envelope. That envelope disappeared. He threw it into the street. I didn't think anything of it. When I got home, I want to say maybe like a few hours later, I was looking for the envelope, and I realized it wasn't in my purse anymore. Gone. So, little things like that. And a girlfriend of mine said she wanted to move in with me because she was leaving her husband. And so I let her. I said, you know, there's more than enough room, and I'd rather not be alone right now. I went to work every day scared. I would see him at work, and I'd be wanting to shit my pants. And I would cry because I was so fucking scared. But I loved him at the same time. I can't explain it to anybody. No one will probably ever understand it. But I loved him, but I was scared of him all at the same time. So a few people knew what had happened. I told my closest girlfriends, and apparently my closest girlfriends decided that they were going to tell my business to other people, and it became a thing. Like, everybody at work knew my business, and most likely not the accurate story, because when it gets told to multiple people down, as it trickles down the storyline, things might change or whatever. So after my friend was living with me, she's like, I don't want to be, what does she keep saying? I don't want to be the Ron Goldman in this situation. She's like, I don't want your fucking crazy ex O.J. Simpson ass to come to this house anymore. I'm not going to feel comfortable. So make sure he doesn't come here, because he would be reaching out to me. He was trying to make things better. He's like, please let me talk to you. Please let me come over. And I would tell him no. He tried dropping off food one time, and I stupidly ate it and then got food poisoning. Was that on purpose? I don't know. But it was not fun. He left food at the front door. One of my favorite restaurants, he got food and he dropped it off at the front door. I was like, whoa, interesting. Thought it was sweet and it was an expensive meal. I know how much that meal cost, so I ate it. Got sick, but. So she kept saying she didn't want him there. She even threatened his life when he reached out to her. He texted her, is she okay, or something. I forget what happened. She's like, don't ever ask me anything about her ever again. Don't come here. I will have you fired. She's like, you're disgusting, and I've seen how manipulative and abusive you are, and I don't want you anywhere near either one of us. So she texted him that. So then I texted him. I was like, just leave her alone, because she's going to get you fired from work. She's going to say that you're harassing her. Just leave it alone. Don't make things worse. Still trying to protect him. And so he stopped texting her, I think. I wouldn't know. And over the next week or so, I just decided I was going to start learning how to be single again. And start doing for myself. And she was encouraging me. She's like, oh, live your life. You've never been single. Hoe is life. Go do it. Go do it. Go do it. Date this guy. Do this. Do that. Do this. Do that. And it was not something that I was used to, but at the same time, I guess I had to go through all of that to learn and to experience. She was very mad at me one morning. Fast forward 2-3 months later, after we had been broken up already. She was very mad at me because I left work, and we drove together because we worked together. So we drove together, and I left work, and I was like, I'm going to tell him to not come to the house anymore. He kept stopping by. He kept doing drive-bys. And he would ask people to do drive-bys and ask people how I was doing. So I stopped at the bar, and I was like, stop coming to my house. You're making us uncomfortable. He's like, please talk to me, please. And he was just he looked so heartbroken. He looked like a sad puppy dog. And my heart melted because I missed him. So I ended up taking her home. And I snuck away an hour later to go meet up with him. And he held me and he kissed me and he told me how sorry he was. And He made me feel like he was truly, genuinely apologetic for what had happened. So there was a lot of things, hypocritical things in the relationship. I wasn't allowed to do things. He was allowed to do them. He would do them. And if I mentioned to him, like, hey, this is fucked up. This is not normal. This is not okay. Didn't you just say I couldn't do that yesterday? He'd be like, so? It's not the same. And the thing is that with him, we would talk in circles. So we'd be fighting about oranges, and then he would start talking about apples, and all of a sudden we were fighting about the apple. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Leave the apple over there. We're talking about the orange in this situation right now. But it's this thing where they try and tire you out. So they talk you to death. And to the point where you're just like, I'm so exhausted with this, I give up. Let's just let it go. And that's what happens. They know what they're doing, and they do it on purpose. So he did that to me in every single argument that we had. It was exhausting. And a lot of times I would just give up. And there was times where at work I would choose not to do something or to participate in something because I felt like maybe he might be upset and he might get mad at me for it. So I wouldn't do it, right? Right? So here I'm trying to be a good girlfriend. I'm thinking, oh my God, here wifey. And I would turn around and he'd be doing it. And the night before he had said to me, please don't do that. I wouldn't be okay with it. I know it's work stuff, but you have the option to say no, so say no. So when they asked me, will you do X, Y, and Z? My answer was no. And then I did that for him, and I turn around and there's him doing X, Y, and Z that he just told me that I couldn't do. There was a lot of stuff like that. A lot. I had ended up making a notepad with all the fights that we ever had about all the things through our 3-year relationship. So I literally have a notepad on my phone of every major argument and major event that happened. And I sent it to him at the end of our relationship, and I was like, this is not okay. Look at what you've put me through. Look what you've done to us. Look at what you've done to me. Argument here about this, this, and this. Argument, he put his hands on me today. He blah, 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 blah. It was always, and it was just nonstop. So she got mad when she found out that I had seen him and hung out with him. She's like, I'm not living here anymore. The both of you can destroy each other. She's like, I'm not going to be, this is disgusting, it's unhealthy, he's a terrible person. And she said all this awful stuff about him. And then after her and I stopped being friends, she starts hanging out with him. It's really cool. Makes a lot of sense. But there was a situation where I finally had to move out of that house that I had with my ex-husband because it finally sold. I had been trying to sell it, but it was a very expensive house. And there's not a lot of people who can afford that size or amount. And so when it finally sold, I moved into a rental, and my goal was to move into the rental for 6 months and then move into a house that I would buy for myself with whatever money I got from the equity of the house that I sold with my ex-husband. And we had gotten back together, so then I moved all my stuff, my belongings, into the rental, but then I was staying at his house. He ended up moving out on his own during the 2 or 3 months that we were broken up. His lease with his 2 roommates was over, so he moved in on his own to his own place. So when we got back together, he's like, just stay with me. He's like, I want you to stay here with me. There's plenty of room. Bring the cats, bring the dogs. You're good. So that's what I did. Moved all of my belongings into my rental, but I took 2 suitcases and lived out of 2 suitcases at his house. And that's when it got really ugly. He had me trapped. He had me trapped because I was in his domain now. So a lot of our arguments, I ended up in a chokehold. A lot of our arguments, I ended up with my fingers being bent backwards, my arms being twisted. He strangled me. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, multiple times. I was getting ready for work one day. I was sitting in his bathroom sink, and I made a slick comment. So he made a comment about another girl. So I made a slick comment about another guy back. In hindsight, I probably had that coming because I knew that he was crazy, but I'm sitting in the sink in the front of the mirror in the bathroom, curling my hair, and he just comes up from behind me and just strangled me. And I blacked out. When I came to, I had the burn mark from the curling iron on my forehead. That was a purple mark for months. That did not go away forever. I don't know if you guys have ever had like a burn, like an oven burn or anything like that. That shit does not go away. It does not heal for a very long time. So those type of things happened. And there was one situation where I said, I'm moving out. I'm leaving. I'm getting all my stuff out of here. I can't be here anymore. And he took my phone, he took my keys, and he held me hostage. He would not let me leave. So I ended up having to pretend to be okay with him after arguing for hours. And this is one of those events that I have proof of. We were arguing and fighting for hours, and I kept telling him, let me go, let me go, let me go. Wouldn't let me go. So I had to pretend like everything was okay so that he would be like, let his guard down. I was like, I have school tomorrow. You have to let me out of the house tomorrow. I have to go to school. I have an exam. I have this. I have that. So when he gave back my keys and my phone the next day, I called my mom and I told her what happened. I'm like, I'm scared. The cats, the dogs, everybody's still at the house, but I need to get out of there. So I guess she sent a text message to him saying, if I don't hear from my daughter by this hour today, I'm sending the cops to your address. So then he starts with the, I'm so sorry, and I just love her so much, and I've never been this way with anybody else, and I don't know why she's trying to leave me, and I didn't want to leave. I had to leave. But I ended up leaving and packing all my stuff up and moving into my rental. Like, fully into my rental. And then this guy who had asked me out while him and I were still dating, I kept saying that I couldn't because I was still living at that guy's house and I was still involved with that guy. So finally I'm single now and I'm living on my own now. So he's like, can we finally go out? And I was like, yeah. I deserve to be treated nicely by somebody. I deserve to be taken out on a date and given that respect and attention from a guy who seemed so funny and sweet and nice. I ended up kind of sort of dating that guy for a little bit. And it was the end of the world, apparently, for me to have done that. I'm now a cheater. I was labeled a cheater. So now he's running around to work telling everybody that I was cheating on him when that wasn't the situation. So most recently when I broke up with him this past November 2018, he kept saying to me, we would be married by now if you hadn't fucking cheated on me with so-and-so. First of all, it's manipulation. If you were going to marry me, you would have married me. You would have proposed to me. You would have done all the things that you were supposed to do. Don't make it sound like me dating somebody else after you were abusive and I had to break up with you. Don't make it sound like that was the hindering of why we are not married right now. And he's like, you did cheat on me. You did. How did I cheat on you? Oh, because the very next day after you broke up with me, you're on a date. Okay, first of all, let's think about this logically. The very next day after what? The very next day after you broke up with me. Yeah, I broke up with you. I'm allowed to do whatever the fuck I want at that point. So you just sounded so fucking dumb right now. And it wasn't the very next day. Mind you, it was a week. It was a week and a half, like a week and 4 days maybe. It was sudden. It was soon. But why would I turn down a guy that I'm attracted to, that I think is nice, that I think would be good to me? Why would I turn that down and sit at home and wallow over a guy who's putting hands on me and verbally, mentally, and physically abusive? Like, why? I deserve better than that. So I thought. And, so yeah, it was very short after I broke up with him, but I never did anything inappropriate ever while we were in a relationship. And the whole situation was just too much to deal with for this new guy. It definitely caused a little bit of drama for him, and I felt bad, but he knew the story before he asked me out, and he still asked me out, and he still acted like he wanted to pursue me anyway. And then after he started seeing, like, okay, this guy's crazy, all of a sudden he's like, well, maybe this isn't a good idea. And I was like, well, if that's how you're going to feel about it, then yeah, maybe not. But he continued to go around and tell everybody I cheated on him when I never did. And it was his way of making himself the victim in the situation and taking the heat off of himself and making himself look better. And it worked because people saw me with this new guy and thought, oh, wow, the rumors must be true. A lot of the things that he did, he planted the seeds, you know? He made himself sound like the victim in all of it. And it was easy to believe because, you know, I'm the crazy one. I'm the outgoing one. I'm the one with no filter. And one fresh out of a divorce. And there must be something wrong with me if my husband left me, you know? So this whole past year, we end up getting back together after all that. We went 5 months being separated, get back together. And then we spent the whole entire year together. So come January, I can see, back up. I go home for Christmas. We had been hanging out and having sex here and there. And I said to him, I was like, are you having sex with anybody else? Are you hanging out? Because I keep hearing people say that they see you with so-and-so, this girl. I was like, it's not like that at all. It's not like that at all. She's nobody. Okay? So I go home in December. He drives me to the airport. I go home. He wishes me a Merry Christmas. Tells me in a very, like, emotional voice that he misses me and he loves me. And Merry Christmas, and he hopes I'm having a good time with my family. And about 15 minutes later, I get a phone call from a friend of mine, like, hey, are you with this guy? Because I just saw him last night with this girl. I'm like, that's the same fucking girl everyone keeps telling me he's been hanging out with. So I ask him. He's like, you're crazy. And all of a sudden the tables are turning on me. I'm the crazy one. No, it's not like that. Come January, now we're full swing into a relationship. We're hanging out all the time. We're at work together. We come home together. I'm sleeping at his house. He's sleeping at my house. And he says to me, yeah, I slept with her twice. I'm going to tell you the truth. I slept with her twice. Just twice, just twice. It was awful. She didn't even give me head. I didn't do this with her. I didn't do that with her. I only did it because I was drunk. It was really bland. It wasn't like that with her. I don't have any feelings for her like that at all whatsoever. So now, of course, as a woman, this girl is a sore spot for me. And what made it a little bit worse was that this same girl was someone that had hung out with us as a couple 5 or 6 different times. Because she was friends with that same couple that we went downtown with to play beer pong with the first night that he kissed me. So she was best friends with that couple. And every time that it was one of their birthdays or an event or anything that we did as a group, she was there. So she knew us as a couple. But she was the type of girl that didn't care about that, and she was going to, he says, she hit him up in the DMs after she saw that we were broken up, and she pursued him, so he says. And then he said he didn't have any feelings for her, that he did it trying to get over me, and that he was so hurt, and he could never stop thinking about me, and he didn't never want to leave the house, and basically just kind of ran her under the bus and said that she wasn't very good at anything, and it was just a fling. But he lied to me about it multiple times for over 2 months. So I didn't know how to feel, and then I say to him that I'm going to forgive him for lying to me about it, but now he's not letting go of the situation with me and the other guy when I broke up with him and started dating the other guy. It was just a mess. And so we started dating again, and all of a sudden it was, well, you can't post me taking you to Disney this week. I'm taking you to Disney, but you can't post any pictures with me in it because I told our bosses that I was going home to see my dad. Well, why'd you do that? Why didn't you just tell the truth that you're taking me to Disneyland for my birthday? No, there was no answer. Literally would avoid the question. I asked that question like 3 times over the 3 days that we were in Disney. Wouldn't answer the question. Kept saying he didn't want to be in any photos and whatever. So I'd make a joke about it. I would post something and be like, solo dolo at Disney. And he would get mad. Well, which is it? Do you want to be in photos? Do you want to pretend like you're not here? Or do you want to pretend like you're here? Which is it? My birthday. Decided to take me shooting and to go-karting, but I wasn't allowed to take a single picture with him. I started recording him. So we did a machine gun. So he's recording me doing it. And so then when it was his turn to do it, the instructor's telling him how to do it. And I start recording. He goes, no, turn it off. And I still have the clip of him like, shut it off. And I start crying. I'm like, it's my birthday. And you're not even letting me post anything or take any videos. And I'm big on photos. I'm big on videos. Those things mean a lot to me. I look back on them and I remember things and they're special to me. From that moment on, for the rest of our relationship, I was not allowed to post anything with him in it. And I thought that was so odd because the first half of our year and a half dating, he posted me all over his Snapchat and Instagram. Like, it didn't matter where we were laying on the couch, I'd be falling asleep on his lap and he'd be videotaping me saying how much he loved me. Super mushy-gushy in our relationship and flaunting it on social media, and then all of a sudden completely different. And it's like, you can't post anything with me. Hiding his phone, putting his phone in airplane mode when he was with me. Putting his phone upside down when we go out to eat and do stuff. And then he's like, I'm not cheating on you. There's no time. I'm with you all day, every day. I'm at work with you, and after work, we go home, and we're together. So I was like, I must be crazy. It must be me. He must be right. Because how could he be cheating on me? How could he be doing any of those things? Because how? Where would he find the time? I mean, 2 hours out of the day, he'd be at the gym. And that's the only time that we weren't together. Every single day. But for the whole entire time that we were together, this whole year, couldn't post anything. And then one day I jokingly took a video of my dogs while I was cooking. I said, you guys get no food. It has been bad. And he was putting up my curtains in my house. He was like drilling the rod in for me. And I said, you're not getting any food either. And I panned to him really fast. And his whole demeanor changed. And that day he started saying he was going to leave me. He wanted nothing to do with me anymore. And I start having a complete flashback of my husband leaving me. So I'm crying and I'm like, please don't do this to me. I didn't post the video. I posted the video and within 30 seconds I deleted it because I could see that it bothered him. Why it bothered him, I didn't know, but I just knew that it bothered him, so I deleted it. He's like, I'm not hiding you. And every time we run errands or go anywhere together, people see us together so they know we're together. I don't deny you. I don't ever tell anybody that we're not together, blah, 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 blah. But I wasn't allowed to post anything with him in it. And I didn't get the respect of him claiming me as his girlfriend publicly, I guess, is the way he would post stuff of him at the gym. And topless photos of him on his page. You're out drinking with the guys. You're posting that. You're doing all this stuff, but you will not post anything related to me. If he was just not a poster and not a social media person in general, I would get it. But that wasn't the situation. So it was just very unhealthy. Very manipulative. Hurtful. And then we break up. I had to break up with him. I had to. I knew that this was the end of the relationship and that we couldn't go any further and I wouldn't feel safe having kids or being married with him. How can I trust you with our children? How can I trust you with myself? And I knew that it had to be the end. Not something I wanted to do, something I had to do. And so after we're broken up, he emails me every single day because I blocked him on social media and I blocked him from being able to call and text me. I didn't think about email. So he emails me every single day begging for forgiveness, begging for me to unblock him, begging for me to talk to him. Please talk to me, please talk to me, please talk to me. Every single day for weeks. Weeks. Every single day for weeks. I swear I'm not cheating on you. I swear I'm not hiding you. I swear I'll never put hands on you again. I swear this will be better. I swear I'll work on this. I swear I'll go back to therapy. He says he was going to therapy. For all I know, he would go sit at a gas station for an hour and a half because he was not changing and making any changes at all. And I would respond here and there, which I think spurred him on. And I would tell him, we can't be together. I love you, but we can't be together. We can't do this. I can't do this with you anymore. Stop reaching out to me. So finally, I had to cut off all of it. And I stopped responding after Christmas when he called me, or when he emailed me saying that he hopes I have a Merry Christmas, because he was like 20 minutes away in Florida. His family's from there. I'm from there. So my hard part was every once in a while I would still go on his page and I would still look at his page because I just missed him. But I didn't want to reach out to him. I didn't want to call or text him because I knew that it would open a can of worms. It had to be no contact, but I wanted to see him. And then I noticed that after he said all that shit about that girl, by the way, he went on my phone while I was sleeping one night, unlocked it with my thumb while I was sleeping, and blocked all the guys that he thought that would ever flirt with me, or the guys that he's known that I've dated or hooked up with or whatever. So he did that. Meanwhile, he started following his ex-girlfriend that he would cry to me about when we first started hanging out, and started following, he was following a bunch of people that he shouldn't have been following, and liking half-naked photos and naked photos of those people. And then wanting to turn around and tell me that I was disrespectful for liking a photo where my ex-boyfriend's face was in it, like in the corner like this. This is what you could see. That's all you could see. I liked the photo because it was somebody else's photo, and he's in the background like this, and I was the worst person in the world for liking that photo. And I went on the page, and after he had said, I'm going to block her because you're right, it is inappropriate, and I lied to you about sleeping with her, and I shouldn't have, and blah, blah, blah. So he blocked her. So here we are broken up, and he's following her again. And he's following people that used to not be nice to me when I was still working with them and all that. And I was like, you know what? That was all that I needed to see. The true colors finally came out, and it was enough for me to be like, I'm ready to move on. I was done. I had broken up with him, and we had been separated for 2 or 3 months, but I still missed him. That was enough to make me stop missing him. Still love him, but not in love with him. Not to the point where I want to see or speak to him ever again. And yeah, so there's a lot of unhealthy things and a lot of unhealthy traits that come along with a narcissist. He was always the one that had to be right. He always had to exert his power and his influence over me and anybody else. He would turn things into a fight that wasn't a fight. I tell him that this guy's staring at me at the gym and making me uncomfortable, so I just want to leave. He turns around and makes a scene. This is the guy that's flirting with you? To the point where I canceled my membership because I was embarrassed as hell. Made me just like, dude, you couldn't have just walked away or said something to the guy. You had to put me out and embarrass me in the process. So I stopped going to that gym with him. I couldn't do it anymore. But those things like that, like, it was too much. It was way too much, and it was unhealthy, and I learned a lot. I did a lot of research, studied up on what it is to date a sociopath or a narcissist. They don't have the same emotions that we do. They feel in their mind, they truly, deeply believe that they're justified in being this way. They feel like other people are out for themselves, so therefore they should be able to be out for themselves. They should be able to do these things and not feel remorse for it whatsoever, because they have to look out for themselves before anybody. So you can never truly fall in love if your emotions are constantly at that level. It's on the surface. Everything's on the surface. Everything's a lie. Everything's a mask. Everything's an air. None of it's substantial. And anyway, I am actually going to insert all the little memes and all the little articles that I have screenshot over the past year that made me realize that I was dating a narcissist. And I'll insert them at the end of this video. Maybe you can read up on it, get to know the situation. But the only thing I ask is, if someone ever comes to you and says that they have been abused, or tells you that they are in that kind of situation, just because you think it's outlandish, that that person doesn't seem like that kind of person. Oh, I don't think she would be abusive. I don't think he would be that way. Don't shrug it off. And don't make fun of anybody, and don't take sides until you know. My last story, I went out on Wednesday of this past week with my roommate. I wanted to get out of the house. Decided I was going to get out randomly. Everybody was at a concert, and I was like, I just want to get out. Waited for her to get off of work. So she got off at midnight. By the time we made it there, it was 1:45 in the morning. We get there, and sure enough, there he is, with all of my ex-coworkers that he still works with. And 2 people out of like 20 said hi to me. These are people that I've known for years, been friends with, have come to my house for barbecues and for 4th of Julys and for this and for that. These people I thought were my friends, and they just saw. Alright, sorry for A, my appearance, and B, for the fact that we're cutting to a different day and a different everything. In the middle of discussing my situation, kind of triggered myself, and I needed to take a step back and figure out how I wanted to proceed with this video. So it's been a few days. I kept going back and forth whether or not to even finish it or upload it at all. But it's really important to me, and I feel like it's important enough to speak on it and to continue to not be afraid of what it is that I might need to move forward and to heal and to get myself through the whole situation. But to continue off of what I was saying last, I was very upset and very hurt because I walked into a situation where I didn't know my ex-boyfriend was going to be, and he was there with all of my previous co-workers and friends, and out of a very big group of them, only 2 of them actually hugged me and said hello to me, and I haven't seen them in a while. So I found it to be very hurtful, because nobody knows the situation. Nobody knows what people are like behind closed doors and what the truth is. They may know one side story. They might know bits and pieces. They might see a person who's good at manipulating, acting hurt, acting like they're the victim in the situation, and painting a picture how they want the situation to be perceived. So people see that and they don't see me. anymore because I don't work with them and I'm not around them. And they just know that I'm this awful person that dumped this guy, and this guy seems to be this awesome guy that everybody loves, you know? So it was very hurtful. Everyone just kind of like pretended like they didn't see me and looked away and distracted themselves. The only thing I can say about that is that if that's the kind of person that someone is, it's a good thing they're no longer in my life anyway. But I do want to go into the traits of a narcissist, not just my own personal story anymore, but now the things that led me to believe and understand that I am dealing with someone who's in any way, shape, or form abusive and manipulative. And sometimes people will manipulate a situation or another person and they don't mean to do it, and then they're not meaning to do it manipulatively, not manipulative, maliciously, you know? Children do it. When they cry, they fake cry because they want to get their way. The child's obviously not trying to hurt anybody. It's just the only way they know how to get what they want. So much like that, a sociopath or a narcissist will hurt and lie and cheat and manipulate to get what they want for themselves. The difference is that at this age, you know what you're doing and you see what you're doing and you make the choices every day to do those things. You can sit there and watch someone cry in front of you and choose not to change or to fix things. And that's the part that makes it a narcissist or a sociopath. One of the traits is that they try to isolate you from friends and family. An example was I was supposed to have a girls' night with two very awesome girls that are not scandalous in any way. Something super chill. And I had been asking for my now ex-boyfriend and I to sit down and have a conversation. I forget what it was about, but he kept saying, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to deal with it. Let's put it off. Let's put it off. Let's put it off. And I was like, fine. So we're driving and we're running errands one day, and I said to him, hey, by the way, I'm having a girls' night tonight. And he's like, with who? And when I told him, he's like, oh, well, yeah, you can't tonight because we need to have a talk. About what? Well, we just have to talk. There's a lot of stuff that we need to talk about. Okay, like what? Well, we'll talk about it tonight. Okay, fine. We can talk about it tonight, either before I go out or after I go out. No. You can't go out because it's going to be a long talk. Okay, so we'll have the talk tomorrow then, because I already made plans with the girls. I already told them that no, you need to cancel because this is important. How come when I wanted to talk to you and it was important to me, it wasn't important enough to you to stop what you were doing or stop you from shrugging it off? Now I make plans. By the way, the piece of the story is I asked 101 times, did you want to do something tonight? Did you want to? I don't know. So finally the girls are texting me and they're like, hey, are you still down to do something? I'm like, you know what? Yeah. The boyfriend didn't make any plans. The boyfriend didn't seem to care. So now I'm making plans. And I made plans, and all of a sudden when I made the plans, the ex-boyfriend wants to act like he needed to talk to me. So now it's this long, drawn-out fight about whether or not I think that our relationship is more important than going out, when really it's not about that. Everything was perfectly fine. There was no reason why the conversation couldn't be had before I went out, after I went out, or even in this moment. In this moment, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't plan on going out till 10 o'clock at night. Why is it that we can't have the conversation between these hours? And it was so funny to sit there and watch him squirm because he honestly couldn't think of anything else to say. to validate what he was trying to do, which was to keep me from going out. He kept saying, no, I'm tired. And then when we get back to the house, I just want to eat and I want to relax. And cool, I want to do a lot of things too. Again, what you seem to want is taking precedent over what I want. And that's just one example. So they try and isolate you from your family, your friends. He would tell me that my girlfriends were crazy. He would tell me that my girlfriends were plotting against him, and she's scandalous and you don't want to hang out with her because she lies to everybody and she's going to backstab you and all this stuff. And he was right. She did end up backstabbing me. She was that kind of girl, though. That wasn't something that no one saw coming. She'd been known for being that kind of friend and person to a lot of people. And I always try to see the good in everybody, and I always try and form my own opinion and not the opinion of what somebody else has had. So, yeah, she ended up backstabbing me just like I probably should have known she would. But it wasn't about that. It was about the fact that anytime I had a friend, that friend was never a good enough friend. That friend was never really there for me. And he knew my history with my family was very rocky, and there was a lot of hurt there. And he would use it like, oh no, not even your own family. Not even your own family is reaching out to you right now. Not even your own family cares about you. I care about you, though. So it makes me feel this big, and it makes me feel like he's all that I have. How can I not stay with him? How can I not make this work at all costs when he's all that I have? So they pick at you and they chip away at you to make you feel like without them you're nothing and you won't have anything. Another thing that really should have been a red flag in the beginning, he really got a kick out of teasing me. And it's funny once in a while to tease somebody, but when you see me cry to you about it, like, okay, it's enough. Enough. Stop. But it never stopped. So when we met, and when we started dating, it was in November. And my birthday's in February. I was just about to turn 30. And I kept joking around about the fact that I was older than him. So he started calling me a cougar and calling me like old, and he would make fun of like, oh, your feet or your skin, your hands, or whatever it was. They all sound very innocent. But it's one of their tactics is to just poke at you and to chip away at you. Just enough to constantly keep you kind of insecure and second guessing yourself, thinking you can't do better than them. And until the point where you start to believe it and it's now an insecurity of yours. So me being a little bit older than him, I think like by 2.5, 3 years, he would say, I'm in good shape and I'm young and I'm a stallion. And then he would call me a cougar. And it started to bother me the more and more closer it came to my birthday. And I made a comment, I'm like, enough is enough. The jokes were cute in the beginning. Now it's to the point where it's starting to really bother me. It's like 50 times a day, every single day. It's got to stop. And it just never stopped. And I got really, really annoyed. And then there were times where he would pull my hair and rip out an extension. And I would tell him all the time, stop doing that. I don't care if you think you're being funny or if you think it's a joke. It hurts. It really hurts. It's taking my hair out with it when you yank the hair so hard that an extension comes out. And then I felt like I had a bald spot. And then he would always laugh and make fun of the bald spot. And it was just like this vicious cycle of never-ending teasing that would make me doubt myself and make me feel insecure and make me feel lesser than him. I don't know. What else? The lies and the manipulations. I mean, I was sleeping and he went on my phone and blocked any guy that he knew I had previously talked to or dated or whatever. And yet, I'm not the type of person that checks my boyfriend's phone or sneaks through his stuff. So I never paid attention to anything he was doing. And one day I just got a really naggy kind of feeling, like 7 months into us dating again. And I said, this is something that's just, I don't know. It's really weird that he won't post me on social media. It's really weird that he won't interact with me on social media. And we're fighting about him constantly saying that he doesn't hide me, yet he hides me. So I go on Instagram and I go through his friends list because we're not friends. So I can't go on the following tab to see what he's liking or to see what he's commenting on. I can't see any of that stuff. Again, we're dating for almost 8 months again, and we're not even friends on social media. Red flag. And but he uses his social media. It's not like one of those things like, oh, I don't even use it. No, he uses it. He's active on it. He posts stories about him at the gym and half naked with his shirt off and all the things that he will yell at me for doing, and he'll do them, and it's not a problem apparently. So I go on his friends list and I notice he's following a lot of half naked girls. So a lot of the girls that we work with together within the industry of the nightclub and all that, they're all, even my Instagram is fairly half naked or sexy, but there was a lot of girls that were just like really just full on naked, strippers and all other sorts of things. And I found it to be kind of odd that he was so gun-ho on me not having my ex-boyfriends or any sort of contact with any male that could potentially be hitting on me, yet he's following these girls that are half naked. So I don't know what made me do it. I clicked on one of the girls' pages, and all her photos are just her completely naked, holding her nipples and her twerking, or pictures of her completely naked with like a little blur over her vagina or her nipples. And when I look, his name popped up as liked all of these girls' photos. So now I'm seeing this and I'm seeing, oh, this was back in April. We've been dating since January. Oh, this one's from June. We've been dating since January. All within our time of being together, which is super disrespectful to be liking half-naked photos of another fucking female, and you're not even friends with your own girlfriend on social media. I'll post a picture that's completely classy, no cleavage, no nothing, and I won't even get my own boyfriend to like it. But another girl can get my boyfriend to like her naked photos? Okay. So after seeing that, I was going down the list, and I'm looking at every single girl's page that he follows, and almost all of them, if there's a half-naked picture of her, he's liking it. Which leads me to believe God only knows what's in his DMs and what's in his text messages that I don't read and that I don't see. And then I see that he's still following his ex-girlfriend, the one that he cried to me about when we first started dating. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. You went on my phone and blocked people. Even people that I've never dated or hooked up with or touched or kissed or anything. You blocked them without my consent while I was sleeping. And yet you think it's appropriate for you to be following and interacting with your ex-girlfriend on social media. The hypocrisy is out the roof when it comes to narcissists and sociopaths. And then the girl that he lied to me about, that he had hooked up with when I asked him a million times in December and January, he liked photos of nothing but her ass. Just a photo of her and her friend's ass. I mean, you could see the small of her back down to her kneecaps, and all it is just the photos of her ass. It's not an ugly ass, not a bad ass. But if you're going to be liking a photo of an ass, shouldn't it be your girlfriend's ass? Not the girl that you lied to her about and were fucking behind her back? Because I know if I liked the guy that I hooked up with and dated after him, if I liked a photo of him half naked, I would be buried somewhere in the desert. Y'all would not have any videos to watch anymore of me, because y'all be finding my body pieces scattered all over the damn desert. And I'm not saying that figuratively. I mean, like, legit, I would be in pieces somewhere in the desert. So that was a big fight. So I ended up, he was sleeping, and I was home, and I saw all that, and I saw red. So I went to his house. I had a key to his house. He gave me a key to his house. One of those things that just kind of ease you so you don't ever feel like you can't trust them. So I go into his house, and I knew that I had a bunch of my stuff at his house still, plus my garage clicker and my gate clicker to get into my community, and I needed those things back. But if I were to tell him to give it back to me, I knew he would hold it hostage and he wouldn't give it back. So I walked through the door. He's laying in bed sleeping. I open the door and he's like, sits up real fast and wakes up and he's like, what are you doing? Oh, nothing, baby, you're fine. Just keep sleeping. I just gotta grab some of my stuff and I'm gonna run some errands. He can tell something was up because I just darted right past him. Kept trying to ask me to come give him a kiss in bed. And I was like, no, I'm busy. I gotta go. So I grab his car keys and I go running down the stairs to go inside his car and grab my garage clicker and my gate clicker. Comes running, chasing after me, slams me into the wall by my neck, tells me to give him back his keys and what am I doing, snatches my car keys that I had in my hand out of my hand and throws it again, throws my phone again, bends my fingers back again, is telling me that I'm not going anywhere, won't let me back out of the garage into his house, telling me to tell him, tell me right now what you're doing, what are you doing, why are you getting your stuff, what happened, screaming at me, to like this close and spitting in my face, screaming at me to tell him why it is that I came to his house to get all my stuff. And I haven't said a word to him yet. Haven't said a word to him. Not a single soul on the planet knows what I just looked at on Instagram or that I was fuming from it or what had happened. So I forget how it was that I got back in the house. I probably kneed him in the balls or did something to run away from him and then ran inside the house and he grabbed me by the neck and slammed me into the wall inside the house and said that I couldn't leave until I told him. And I said, oh yeah? So he still has my phone and he has my keys. He picked it up because I came running out of the garage into the house and I left my stuff on the floor after he threw it. So he picked it up and came following me into the house. So now I can't even go anywhere. So he's got my phone in his hand. And he keeps saying, tell me what the fuck is going on. Tell me what the fuck is going on right now. You're not going anywhere. I'm not letting you leave. I'm not letting you leave. You're not leaving. I'm not letting you break up with me. Nope, not happening. And so I said, you want me to tell you? You want me to tell you what happened? Haven't said anything yet. I said, do you want me to tell you what happened? Give me my phone, I'll show you. No, tell me what happened. No, I will show you. I'm not going to tell you. I will show you. Give me my phone or even unlock the phone. Because you don't need to hand me the phone. You can unlock the phone and look at it yourself, I said. And he goes, you know what? I'm pissed at you. I don't even know. All of a sudden, it was like, you ever seen anybody with disassociation? When they have like multiple personalities and they stop being one personality and they go into being another personality? It was like that. Watched him just like, bleep, 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 turn into somebody else. And he's like, you know what? I'm pissed at you because you liked pictures with your ex-boyfriend in the background and in the picture and blah, 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 blah. Huh? I didn't even know what he was talking about. He kept saying that I liked pictures from my ex-boyfriend. And I know that I hadn't even been following my ex-boyfriend. So there was nothing for me to be liking because nothing of his was coming up on my feed. And he starts to tell me what the picture was. And I was like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. If he's even in the picture, I didn't even notice it. That's number one. Number two, when I finally did look at the picture, like I said previously in this video, it's like this much of his face is showing, blurred out in the background of somebody else's photo. And he tried to act like that was something he had been mad about and hadn't expressed to me for months. Since when have you ever held back from telling me when you feel some type of way about anything? You have no problem putting hands on me and yelling at me and cursing at me and going a week without talking to me when you're mad at me. And I'm talking about a solid week. I'm talking about 4, 5, 6 days that I won't be able to get a hold of him. My own boyfriend. Not someone I'm casually dating here and there. I'm talking about my boyfriend. Okay? So you have never had a problem expressing how you feel to me. And all of a sudden now you are harboring this situation that you haven't expressed to me about in months. How funny that he brings that up before I can even get out of my mouth that I had caught him liking hookers' pictures on Instagram and his ex-girlfriend's picture. Not ex-girlfriend because they just fucked. So she's nobody. But just all super inappropriate things. The whole fucking situation was really just stupid and disgusting. And the way that he treated me and what he did was disgusting. I ended up coming home with a bloody toe and a bruised shin, and my finger was on fire for being bent backwards. I was shaking and hyperventilating because I couldn't get my breath, catch my breath. And my best friend left work and came to the house, and she's just like, "Are you okay?" And when I told her what happened, she's just like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, when is enough going to be enough?" So that still wasn't enough. I broke up with him for maybe a week and a half, if that, and he kept calling me every single day. So when I left his house, rewind. So he's screaming at me about the picture that I liked, and I'm trying to show him the picture. Before even telling him what it is that I'm mad at, I'm trying to pull up the picture on my phone, and he starts shoving me by my neck and my shoulder and saying, "Get out of my house. Get the fuck out of my house." This is someone that less than 10 minutes ago was telling me he wasn't going to let me leave. Now he's telling me, "Get the fuck out of my house or I'm going to call the cops." No one's done anything to you. Why are you calling the cops all of a sudden? You said you wanted to know. He goes, "I don't care anymore. I don't care. I don't want to know. I don't want to know why you're mad. I don't care. Get the fuck out of my house. Just get out. Never speak to me again." Okay. I was done anyway, so go upstairs, bring me my last change of clothes that I had sitting on your laundry basket, bring me my fucking basket with all my toiletries that are on top of your kitchen or your bathroom counter, and give me my keys and my garage clicker and my gate clicker. And he's like, "No, we'll get that another time." No, 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 we're not. I'm never coming back here. I'm never setting foot in this house again. Give me my stuff all right now so we can be done with each other and done with this relationship. Wouldn't give it back to me. He goes, "I'm going to call the cops." Call the cops. Call the cops. And I sat there and I looked at him just like that. Give me my dog kennel. Give me my blow dryer and all the things that we left here, and I will leave. So after 25, 30 minutes of screaming at me that he wants me to leave and me saying I'm not going to leave until he gives me all of my stuff, he starts to grab stuff from me and throw it out the front door. Throw it out the front door. So I'm picking things up and putting in the car, picking things up and putting in the car. As I go to drive away, he's chasing the car down. "Why are you chasing the car down? You wanted me to leave. I'm leaving." Starts blowing up my phone. Hitting decline every single time. Call my best friend to tell her what happened. She said, "I'm going to leave work. I'll meet you at your house." And then she calls me. She's like, "He just called me. He's begging for me to help you and to convince you not to be mad at him, and telling me that he doesn't understand where all this is coming from and that he loves you." The hell are you talking about? It was just really fucking disgusting. The whole thing. Looking back at it, I'm mad at myself for having forgiven him and taken him back even after all of these incidents and all these things that would happen that were just clear signs that it was not healthy and it was not a good relationship, and the respect wasn't there. The love truly wasn't there, apparently. You don't do that to someone you love. You don't hurt someone consistently for 3 years like that and watch them cry. It was just bad. All bad. There were other instances that he never paid for anything really when we were together. And there came a snag in my financial situation, and he offered to help me with something. And I said, as a last case resort, I'll take you up on that offer and then I'll pay you back. He kept saying, "No, you don't have to pay me back." I was like, "No, I'll pay you back. It would make me feel better to pay you back." And then when it came down to the situation, I tried to do everything I could not to have to borrow the money from him, and it just didn't work out. So when I said something to him about me having to do it, and I'm like, "Listen, I didn't want to, but I'm going to take you up on your offer," he's like, "Yeah, no, I don't think it's a good idea." what? Yeah, I just don't think it's a good idea. And he did that multiple times over our relationship with multiple different situations. It was a promise and then taking it away when it would have came down to him holding true to his word. They play the victim, and they play it well. They try to make you sound crazy. Like I said at the beginning of this video, it's easy to believe, especially someone like me who's loud, goofy, outgoing, unfiltered. And this is someone who, by persona, is cool, calm, laid back, a little bit more reserved and quiet, claims to be private. Everyone knows him to be funny and like charming, but for the most part, just calm and collected. Where I'm like, ah! So it's easy to believe that I'm the crazy one, and he's this nice guy that just dated a psycho that went fucking crazy on him, right? It's easy to believe that. But like I said, it sucks, but I have recordings. And he doesn't even know that I've had them. I've had them for years. I've had them for years. I've had them the whole time. And every time that someone's called me a liar, in all the times that we've broken up, and we've broken up and gotten back together, broken up and got back together like 4 times now, I could have easily been like, here you go. And I never did. Don't do it. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I don't have the heart to ever put someone through that. At times I may be upset, mainly with myself for allowing the mistreatment, but at times I may be upset or bitter over how I was treated, but I would never want to destroy somebody. And I'm going to continue to keep all of those things to myself and not post or share them with anyone, because it really isn't anyone's business. It was between us and our therapist and some of our friends who were there to witness the sheer dysfunction of it. It hurts a lot. It makes me doubt not just men, to be honest with you, this humanity, humans, people. Makes me wonder what people are capable of, because in the beginning of our relationship, it was a whirlwind of just intense love. It felt like there wasn't a moment, like we would be right in front of each other and missed each other, right in front of each other. There was nothing that could separate us. In the first few months, it was just like, oh my God, I cannot believe that you haven't been in my life my whole life. Where have you been? Why have I ever been with anybody but you? Kind of thing. And it's sad when you go from having that to seeing this person out and having to pretend like you guys are strangers and not even be able to be friends. And to watch them turn people on you and you didn't do anything except for finally stand up for yourself. All I can say is that if someone comes to you and tells you that they're dating a narcissist or they feel attacked, don't shove it off. Don't tell somebody what to do. People have to go through things and process things themselves. No amount of people telling me to break up with him was going to make me break up with him. It took me knowing that I need to break up with him for me to do it. And I didn't want people to tell me how to feel or what to do. It made me very upset when people try to push that on me. It made me feel dumb. Like, how much longer are you going to put up with this? So, like, why are you dating him? Okay, so when is this going to be enough? And blah, 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 blah. Like, that made me more upset than anything else. And then I would end up running back into his arms because I believed that nothing else good would ever come my way again. He was my everything. He was my best friend, my boyfriend, my... It's hard because he had wonderful moments and he had wonderful qualities. He was good to my dogs. And he was not often, but once in a blue moon, a great boyfriend. But then he would do things like fake illnesses every single freaking time I asked him to meet my new friends from work. I got a new job. I have a new complete set of new friends. People that I see and hang out with all the time. And like clockwork, every single time that I try to make plans, if anybody else was involved, he would fake a sickness. Illness every other week. So we'd be off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then he'd be working Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And Monday through Thursday, he couldn't get out of bed. I haven't gone into bed, Jess. It's been so bad. I've been so sick. Friday, good to go. Good to go. Went to work, was perfectly fine. I'm watching him on everybody else's Instagram stories at work, joking around and laughing and doing everything just fine. And then come Monday when he's off again, I can't get out of bed. I'm so tired. I'm so worn down. I'm so beaten. You don't understand. I don't understand. I worked with you. I did the job for 9 years, and I did it in heels. I get it. I know what you do. I've seen you at work. I've waited till the wee hours of the morning for you to finish so we can drive home together. I know what it is that you do. I've done it too. Do not act as if I don't understand it and that I'm asking for too much from you and that you just want to sleep. Cool. So then you can sleep Monday and Tuesday, and then I'll introduce you to my friends at my house for a game night on Wednesday. Not good enough. There will be an excuse. Always an excuse. But you're not hiding me, right? Yeah. Be there for people. Be a shoulder for somebody. If you know someone's being abused, if you have an idea someone's being abused, be sensitive in the way that you speak to them about it. Don't insinuate that this person is crazy or to blame or at fault. No one deserves to be abused. Mentally, physically, verbally, emotionally. None of those things. And doesn't matter how crazy I could be or would be or am. None of that matters. If I'm really that crazy, you break up with me. You leave. You walk out. Obviously, I wasn't that crazy because you stayed with me. And in the 3 years, you've never broken up with me, but I've broken up with you 4 times. So don't run around and tell people that I'm crazy, that I'm psycho, that I'm the person that was wrong in the relationship, yet you've never broken up with me. You've never been like, you know what, I can't do this with you. This is unhealthy. Promised he would go to therapy and then never did. Think he went once, maybe twice, and then lied to me every other time about it. God knows what he was doing for those 2 hours where he was claiming to be in therapy. God only knows what he told the therapist, and the therapist probably thinks I'm insane. tells everybody that he's never been this way with anybody else but me. But that's the same sob story he tells about every girl he dates and abuses. She just brings this out of me, and I don't know why I lose it, and I lose control when it comes to her. You lost control with the girl before that, and the girl before that, and the girl before that. So I'm not the first that seems to bring this out of you. Again, all manipulation and to people who feel like they're in a situation similar to mine, no one can tell you when to leave. You have to decide that for yourself. But I will tell you right now, the longer you stay in it, the harder it is to pull out of it. The longer it'll take you to heal. And it's going to take a long, long time to heal. Long time to heal. There's not a day that goes by that I don't wonder to myself, is there going to be a day where I don't miss him? But I gotta remind myself that the person I fell in love with wasn't real. That was what the narcissist shows you the first 3 to 4 months. They do everything in their power to get you in their grasp and their hook. And they are wonderful. And with every mental disorder within like sociopath, narcissist, and all those things, it's always the same thing. Within 3 to 4 months, the mask comes off and their true selves are revealed. To a certain extent, not completely. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Anyway. So, I fell in love with something that didn't really exist. And I have to learn how to heal, and it's going to take a really long time to be able to trust again, to not feel insecure and chipped away at and exhausted physically, emotionally, mentally. It took a toll on me, took a big piece out of me. It aged me for sure. But it also helped me to realize and to grow. For anybody who's watching this who knows me or my ex and is wondering why I did this, how could I do this, why am I putting my business out there, why am I putting his business out there, it's not about him anymore. The past 3 years has been about him, what he's allowed me to do, where he's allowed me to go, who he's allowed me to be, who's he allowed me to see, who he's allowed me to hang around. It's been about him and what he needs and what he wants and what he says. I need, I feel, I want. And those things matter too. And this is a way for me to get this off my chest and to possibly help somebody else who is experiencing these same things. And by no means am I short of stories. I have more examples I haven't even discussed. There are other symptoms to narcissism and to sociopaths that I didn't even get into. And more stories and examples of what I've been through. But I think I've served the purpose of explaining how dangerous it is. If you don't get out of it, you stay in it, you get pregnant. You've got a man who's never gonna be good to you, never respect you, and you're kind of in this situation where I guess you would say you're trapped. He's now the father of your children, or he's your husband now, whatever. All because of the fear of having left and what might else be out there. I decided I would rather be single than to constantly wonder for the rest of my life if I was going to wake up the next day, because I couldn't trust him. I could be sleeping, and what if he decided to slit my throat or poison me gradually over time and then act like when I die, like, oh, my baby. I don't know. You never know what's going on in the mind of somebody else, especially somebody with that kind of mental disorder. I don't trust myself sometimes. That's a sad truth. If I'm in deep enough of depression, if I'm triggered deeply enough by something with my PTSD, I contemplate suicide and I contemplate hurting myself. I would never hurt somebody else, but it goes to show you that the thoughts are always possible. The thoughts, the ideas are always there. And even though I'm working on all those things, I'm working on them. My point is that I needed to get out of it because I would never be able to grow and be myself and be happy and healthy staying in that kind of relationship. I would cry and say, why does what I want and what I need not matter? Why is me crying and like hyperventilating and throwing up? Like I'd be like, can't even catch my breath. And he would just be standing there listening to me like, yeah, okay, cool, sorry, I won't do it again. And the very next day he'd be doing it again. And then, sorry, okay, cool, sorry, okay, cool, sorry. The very next day after that, doing it again. So it's time for me to do things for myself. And I think that this is important for me and for others to hear. Everybody who needs a shoulder, an ear, anything at all, please feel free to DM me on Instagram at JessiePrestonX and reach out to me. I will definitely be there as much as I can be for you. I, again, am not a doctor. I'm not diagnosing anybody. I'm telling you that it feels like I dated a narcissist, and it feels like I dated this kind of person who exhibits all of these behaviors that are very similar to this mental disorder. And to him, if you're watching, I love you. Even till this day. And I don't wish you bad. I hope that you can be happy and healthy and find help for yourself to be better, for yourself and for the people around you who you love and are close to. That's it. That's all I've got for you guys. This is already a really long video. If you've made it without skipping through or clicking out, thank you for giving me the respect and the time. Thank you for listening. And I really hope nobody ever goes through anything like this. It's not fun. And if you need me, I'm here. All the same points I've made throughout the video, I'm going to reiterate them. Best of luck to everyone. Do your own research and find out. Maybe you're not realizing you might be the toxic person. I know I've been the toxic person in situations before, and I've had to back out and be like, okay, this is not healthy. I can't act like this. I can't say these things. I can't think this way. I need to step back. So be kind to everybody. Everyone's a work in progress. Everyone's working on themselves. The only thing you can do is always say that you're not doing anything intentionally to hurt someone. We all hurt somebody in some points of our lives. Just don't ever do it intentionally. And when you do it, apologize genuinely, sincerely, and fix it. Don't do it again. And that's when you can heal and move on and grow and be forgiven. Thanks everyone for watching, and I will talk to all of you guys soon.